The action genre in Hollywood has seen a significant shift, with movie franchises taking center stage, leading studios to compete in creating cinematic universes. Original ideas, once treasured, are now often shelved or, if lucky enough to be produced, struggle to compete with sequels. In this bleak landscape, John Wick emerged as a breath of fresh air. The rugged assassin has consistently delivered across each installment, reinvigorating the cinematic world. The fourth installment of John Wick has just been released and continues to impress, leaving audiences in awe. John Wick 4 is receiving highly positive reviews on various rating platforms and has become the most successful entry in the Assassin series. This success has exceeded the studio's financial expectations, setting the stage for future endeavors. But does this new chapter truly live up to the glowing praise? Can Keanu Reeves maintain his peak form? And will the mysterious underworld still satisfy fans? All of these questions will be answered in this review. In the new film, John Wick continues his quest for vengeance. After being betrayed by his close friend Winston, John teams up with the Bowery King to take down the High Table. He succeeds in his revenge, but this act only drags him into a new battle with even more ruthless and dangerous enemies. Not only does John face new foes, but he must also confront old friends, making his journey more challenging than ever. The fourth installment retains the familiar faces from previous films, such as Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski, while introducing new characters portrayed by seasoned actors like Hiroyuki Sanada and Donnie Yen. These new additions bring a fresh dynamic to the series. Visually, John Wick 4 continues to impress with its stunning action sequences. John Wick remains the unstoppable force we know, showcasing a versatile fighting style that ranges from close combat to the use of modern weapons. However, what stands out in this film is the innovative cinematography, including aerial shots reminiscent of video games and POV shots that immerse the audience in the action. The film's soundtrack is equally well-crafted, with energetic electronic tracks that amplify the intensity of the fight scenes. But the film does have its flaws. The realism of the action scenes is somewhat compromised, as John Wick continues to fight on despite being hit by cars multiple times or falling from significant heights without any real harm. These impressive yet unrealistic scenes can leave viewers feeling disconnected. In summary, John Wick 4 retains the essence of the series while introducing new elements. Though it has its shortcomings in terms of length and realism, this sequel is still a must-watch, especially for those who love the character of John Wick. The franchise undoubtedly continues to bring success to the studio and promises a bright future for the action genre. No one really knows when action movies in Hollywood started to change, but now, franchises are dominating the scene. Movie studios are competing to build cinematic universes, leaving original ideas on the sidelines. Those unique ideas, once considered treasures, either get shelved or, if lucky, are made but struggle to compete with sequels. In the midst of this bleak situation, John Wick emerged, a rugged assassin who consistently delivers in each movie, bringing a refreshing breeze to the cinema world. Recently, he returned in the fourth installment and once again left audiences in awe. John Wick is receiving very positive ratings on review sites and has become the most successful film in the series about the pencil-wielding assassin. Thanks to this success, the studio's financial reports exceeded expectations, paving the way for the next steps. So, does the latest John Wick movie really live up to the hype? Does Keanu Reeves still bring his A game? And does the mysterious underworld still satisfy fans? All of these questions will be answered right here. At this point, the main character has just been betrayed by his close friend Winston, so he makes a plan with the Bowery King to take down the High Table. John Wick is successful in his revenge, but his actions lead him into a new battle with enemies who are more ruthless and dangerous than the previous ones. Not only that, but he also has to fight old friends, making his journey even more challenging. Chapter 4 still features the core stars from the previous movies, like Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski. Additionally, audiences are introduced to new characters played by experienced actors like Hiroyuki Sanada and Donnie Yen. That's all you need to know before watching John Wick 4. But before we dive into the review, there are a couple of things I want to make clear. First, my thoughts and opinions come from someone who has watched all 3 previous John Wick movies and is very intrigued by the mysterious world in the films. Second, my comments are based solely on the actors' performances, completely separate from their real lives. Regarding the film, I want to emphasize that we are always focused on staying neutral and won't lean toward any biased opinions. That's it. Now, let's jump into the 4th battle of John Wick. First, let's talk about the visuals, the key factor behind the success of the John Wick series. Our main character is still the same, tough and relentless, not afraid of anyone. His fighting style is just as varied as in the previous films, with close combat, long-range attacks, and weapons. However, in each type of fight, he brings out some new moves, like using nunchucks, fire-spitting gadgets, and ultra-modern, flexible guns that keep the audience glued to the screen. One of the most interesting aspects of the film is that not only does our main character improve, but so do his opponents. Some wear thick armor that can withstand multiple hits, while others are so strong they almost overpower John Wick. And there are many more tough opponents with enhanced strength. These stronger villains continuously challenge John Wick, making his strikes seem heavier and more exhausting. But within the context of the film, this makes sense because John has been fighting non-stop for a long time. I want to give a lot of credit to Keanu Reeves for his dedicated performance despite his age. He still gives it his all, ready to perform stunts that are even riskier than in previous films. John Wick is impressive as ever. However, his fight scenes are even more captivating thanks to new and creative camera work compared to the previous films. For example, there are aerial shots that look just like video game perspectives, or shots that put the viewer in the character's point of view. This keeps the energy in each frame at a very high level, keeping the audience focused. Speaking of action scenes, it would be a huge oversight not to mention the music. The fight scenes are paired with energetic electronic tracks that amplify the intensity, making you want to jump into the action yourself. A fun fact is that Rina Sawayama, who plays Akira, is also a singer in real life, and she lent her voice to the cool soundtrack during the credits. In summary, when it comes to the action scenes, John Wick is still John Wick, maybe even more so. However, the fresh and creative elements can be a double-edged sword, leading to some clear issues. The first issue is with realism. While we know the John Wick series has always pushed the limits of physics, this 4th film takes it to another level. It's hard to believe anyone could get hit by a car multiple times and still keep fighting as if nothing happened, or crash a truck and then continue battling without a scratch. And these kinds of scenes happen not just once but several times throughout the film. For instance, there's a scene where John is fighting a bunch of people in the middle of fast-moving traffic, and yet he barely gets hurt. The most unbelievable part, though, is Donnie Yen's character. How can a blind man block bullets with a sword and fight his way through hordes of enemies without a problem? After scenes like this, you might feel like you're watching Fast and Furious instead of John Wick. The second issue is the pacing of the action. If you're here just for the fight scenes, you might be a bit disappointed because John Wick doesn't fight as much as in the previous movies. The film takes about 20 minutes before the first big fight, and the action scenes are spaced out, only really ramping up towards the end. So if you're looking forward to seeing Keanu Reeves in non-stop combat, you'll need to be patient and not get too caught up in the logic. Otherwise, you might find it hard to enjoy the movie. The filmmakers had to cut back on the action scenes to lessen the physical strain on Keanu Reeves, who is nearing 60. This also allowed them to focus more on storytelling, which wasn't as much of a priority in the past. Finally, and just as important, John Wick leaves some storylines open, promising more to come. For example, we could see more of Ken's journey, the story of the Vesperama organization, or the rise of the villain Morley. However, these opportunities for side characters also mean the end for the main character. The conclusion of John Wick 4 is still a hot topic on the internet, but to me, it's a fitting resolution. It's the only way John could truly find rest and face the consequences of his violent past. In conclusion, John Wick 4 meets almost all the basic expectations of a sequel. It preserves the essence of the earlier films while introducing new and exciting elements, and it provides a convincing conclusion for the main character. However, the film does have some issues, like its length, the unrealistic action scenes, and the unclear backstories of new characters.